Welcome to This Explainer. We're going to take the intricate blueprints of India's maritime governance and visualize them, turning what looks like a dense sea of legal jargon into a bright, perfectly tuned machine. If you've ever felt totally bogged down by legislative texts, don't worry. We're laying out exactly how India engineers its massive maritime commerce, making this whole architecture super easy to see and grasp. Let's get right into it. Here's our map for today's breakdown. We're looking at 5 key gears: setting the maritime rules, accountability and penalties, solving implementation difficulties, expert advisory committees, and finally, protecting Indian jurisdiction. Starting off with Part 1, setting the maritime rules. So a maritime rule doesn't just magically appear out of thin air, right? It goes through a highly visible 3-step journey. Step 1 is all about transparency. The rule gets published straight into the official gazette. Then, Step 2, it sits before both houses of Parliament for a full 30 days. Step 3 is crunch time. Parliament can approve it, tweak it, or just completely annul it. But there is a very practical safety net built in here. If a rule does get modified or scrapped, that decision doesn't invalidate any actions that were already taken while the rule was actually active. It keeps the whole system moving smoothly. Moving on to Part 2, accountability and penalties. Because, let's face it, a rule without consequences is pretty much just a suggestion. The moment a rule is created, the central government can attach some serious financial teeth to it, directing a maximum penalty of 50,000 rupees for a breach. That sets a crystal clear, undeniable baseline for accountability right out of the gate. But it definitely doesn't stop there. What if a company figures, hey, I'll just pay the 50 grand and keep doing what I'm doing? Well, the lawmakers totally anticipated that. If a breach is a continuous one, an extra penalty extending up to 5,000 rupees is slapped on for every single day the violation continues after the first day. Imagine that daily ticker: 5,000, another 5,000, another 5,000. It puts immense financial pressure on businesses to fix issues immediately, proving that compliance isn't just some one-time transaction. Which brings us to Part 3, solving implementation difficulties. No matter how flawlessly you design a legislative blueprint, reality is always going to throw some curveballs. When an act officially commences on day 1, it might immediately clash with real-world complexities on the water. So the central government is given a highly flexible 3-year window from commencement to publish special orders that basically iron out those difficulties. Of course, they can't contradict the act itself, and they do have to go before Parliament. But after year 3, that power completely expires. It's kind of like a temporary set of training wheels to make sure the legal machine doesn't stall out on early technicalities. Next up, Part 4, expert advisory committees. You know, maritime laws aren't just drafted in a vacuum. They need real, on-the-ground expertise to actually function. So the central government pulls together advisory committees made up of the exact people who know the industry best, those whose interests are principally affected or who possess specialized knowledge of the subject matter. These experts advise the government on making or altering rules, and even on setting fee scales. And to make sure this vital brain trust is fully accessible, the government actually covers their traveling and other allowances. It's a brilliant way to ensure these rules make practical sense when they finally hit the water. And finally, Part 5, protecting Indian jurisdiction. In our totally interconnected global trade network, foreign jurisdictions sometimes try to overreach. If a person running a lawful business in India faces what's called a foreign requirement, or even just a threatened prohibition, they are legally obligated to inform the central government. This explicitly includes any demand from another country asking them to submit a contract or commercial document for foreign approval. It acts as a massive tripwire. The second a foreign entity makes that demand, New Delhi gets notified. When another country tries to regulate acts happening outside their own territorial lines and targets lawful Indian commerce, that's a direct infringement. And this is exactly where the Indian Shield comes into play. The central government can step right in with a written order issuing an absolute prohibition that literally directs the person not to comply with the foreign measure. Plus, if a foreign court is demanding commercial documents, India can formally restrict anyone from producing them. It acts as an incredibly powerful, legally binding defensive wall to protect local business from outside interference. Which leaves us with a really fascinating question. In an increasingly interconnected global trade network, how often will this powerful jurisdictional shield need to be raised to protect local commerce from foreign overreach? As we wrap up this explainer on India's maritime blueprint, we've visualized how rules are built, how penalties create serious pressure, and how the system dynamically adapts. But this final mechanism, the ability to outright block foreign legal overreach, is truly something else. With multiple countries' laws constantly crashing into each other in today's supply chain, this shield might just be the most vital piece of the entire architecture. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, keep asking the big questions.